Welcome to Permission to Kick Ass, a podcast about leaving self-doubt in the dust, punching fear in the face, and taking bold action toward your biggest dreams. I'm Angie Coley, and let's get to it. Hey, and welcome back to Permission to Kick Ass. With me today is my new friend, Deepshikha Sairam. Say hi.
Hey, Angie. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm excited about this one. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure, absolutely. So I am a spiritual business mentor. I help thriving entrepreneurs leverage their unique energetic strengths, their unique energetic qualities matched with curated business strategies.
I think that's really awesome. And I have to tell you guys why. So this is how I met Deepshikha. We were connected through a mutual friend, and I went to a retreat that she had a while back. Mm-hmm. And I went into it, I wouldn't say entirely skeptical, but just like with a perception of spirituality and what it would be like. And as I sat there and listened to Deepshikha's process, I was like, oh, you know what? This woo thing that I'm kind of firmly against makes a strange kind of sense. I'm kind of digging this vibe here. So I really love it when somebody challenges my opinions and my preconceived notions in a way that opens me up to something that is new and delightful. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here to share that.
My pleasure. I think that's my life journey to just change people's minds and just do things in a different way. And I was just telling you that one of my missions now is to demystify spirituality for people like you and me, because a lot of the woo stuff out there is super unrelatable. It's very out there that we don't understand. There's some words that we don't understand, the concept that we don't understand. So one of my mission is to just demystify it and decode it for us so that we can understand it. Like the other day, I wrote a blog about creating energetic practices, and I used an analogy of a garden hose. And people were like, oh, I get it now. I have a garden. I get it. I get what you're saying.
Well, tell me about the garden hose. Now I'm curious and I want to know more.
Sure. Okay. So I was talking about why should you use energetic practices in the business, right? So a lot of people, when they hear energetic practices, what does that mean? What is she going to make me do? Is she going to make me like meditate on my mat for hours and hours? I know it's not that. So one of the things that I use in with my clients and in my business is human design, but there's so many other different ways you can use your energy. So I compare it to the garden hose analogy, that if you have a garden and you have these beautiful roses and tulips and lilies that you have, and if you want to water them, you will open the tap. And let's say if the water doesn't come out, you keep on increasing the pressure of the tap. And suddenly you notice that there are a few kinks in the garden hose, right? So what are you going to do? You're not going to just keep increasing the water pressure or change the faucet. You're going to sit down and really smooth out the garden hose, right? You're going to remove the kinks. And that is exactly what energy is. So energy needs to flow.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a vacuum, energy goes there. Energy abhors vacuum. Nature abhors vacuum. And everything is energy. Like you and I are talking, there's an exchange of energy. So whenever there is a block, there's a resistance. That's where the kinks are and energy cannot flow. So the whole process of you using a unique energy is smoothing out those kinks, as some people call it, energetic blocks or limiting beliefs, people call it. But it's so much more than that. So
I think that's important to point out that like people have different terminology for the same thing. And I think when there's really a misunderstanding about this kind of energetic flow and things like that, that it probably is just people using different words in different ways. But that the garden hose analogy makes so much sense to me, because so many people out there will like rip the faucet out of the wall and redo all the plumbing before they will straighten out the hose.
Yeah. And the important thing to wonder here is that once you remove the kinks, you probably don't even need a lot of water pressure, because as you know, the flowers are pretty delicate. They don't need like a full spray on of water. So you can release the water pressure, have a really nice flow going, similar to your business. You don't need to hustle that hard once the energy is flowing. Where should the energy flow? In your messaging, in your marketing, in your offers. If everything is aligned, if everything is super, super aligned and in line with each other, then everything is going to flow and you don't have to hustle that hard then.
I think that's so great. As somebody who has killed a plant with overwatering, I totally get this. Like, it's possible to do too much, guys. And like this, I describe myself sometimes as pro hustle, but anti grind.
Yes.
You do not need to grind yourself down into the dirt to build a business. And I think that was perfect because you and I were talking a little bit about before the call started, we were talking a little bit about this perception of business that people have, especially when they're looking at Instagram influencers. And I got to tell you that some days I'm probably going to wind up doing this and trying to start a hashtag of like anti-influencer or something, but like I'm a digital nomad full time. I don't know if you knew that.
I know that. And I'm a foodie. So when I see you posting pictures of your amazing food, I don't know what you posted the other day was a buttermilk chicken or something. I was like, oh my God, I'm salivating over here, Angie.
I thought it was so ridiculous to post pictures of my food, but I've had so many people go like, no, I'm living vicariously through you. Keep posting food. So now I keep posting food pictures. Yeah. But the interesting thing about this is that so many people reach out and they're like, tell us about your adventures. And I'm like, yo, 80% of the time I'm at home in front of the computer, just like everybody else doing the work. So, I'm half tempted every day. Of course they can't see me on video, but like doing the dishes, digital nomad life, hashtag,
Instagram influencer. Real Instagram influencer.
Exactly. Show them what it's really like versus the posed stuff. Like I'm probably going to have to do that. Maybe we can make that into a mission, but I definitely want to explore that a little bit about how we get into this mindset or this impression that business has to be hard and you have to work really, really hard, almost to the point of burnout just to get something good.
Yeah. I mean, that's the patriarchal conditioning that we've all received, right? From the very beginning. I call it the patriarchal success path. And it's not just with women, more so with women, but also with men, because we have equated our worth with hard work. We have equated our worth with money. We have equated our worth with validation from people. We have equated our worth with approval from people. So women think, and I'm talking to both women and men, but I work with women and I see this more in women than men. We think that if we don't work hard, then we are not really worthy. I remember when I started my business, when my day was full of meetings, it gave me a very good hit. I felt very successful, even though my bank account was empty.
But I'm busy.
A good hit. Yes, because it gave me that fake hit of, oh, I'm busy, therefore I am worthy. So that's the patriarchal success path that we've all been on. I call it the freight train to nowhere, because you keep going, you keep checking off boxes after boxes, the 6-figure, the multiple 6-figure, the 7-figure, the launches, blah, 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 Instagram followers. And at the end of it, what happens is there comes a time when you're like, oh my God, I don't know what happened. I have all these things, but I still feel miserable. Something isn't right there, because the patriarchy doesn't hold any value to your worthiness on the patriarchal success path. It gives no value on your worthiness. There is zero value to it.
That resonates with me pretty hardcore. And especially since, my background is a copywriter and I really cut my teeth in Silicon Valley, which is, hustle and grind central. And there were days where I was commuting 1 to 2 hours a day going into this office was toxic. Yeah. So I'm working 10 to 12 hours days being screamed at, being told that my work is shit and people like, it was horrible. But I got that same kind of hit, when I go into the office and I see like I've got 6 hours of meetings and I've somehow got to squeeze 8 hours of work in between those 6 hours, taking up my calendar. And it was almost a point of pride that I had to take work home and I was working on the weekends and I basically burning myself out.
Totally. Let's just, understand where is this coming from. So part of what I said is that I am here to demystify, spirituality, but also patriarchy. Where is this coming from? This is coming from the time, which patriarchy is a 3,000-year-old system, right? It is coming from the time when the church and the capitalists wanted the people to go and work in the factories, right? So there was a lot of reward, a hit, worthiness given to people who worked in factories. So that is where that culture is coming from, is that when you work hard, when you hustle, when you grind, oh, you're something, you're made of something. Yes. I mean, the entire economy, the capitalism is based on work hard, grind, go out there, take massive action. It is very masculine.
I agree. And I think that I don't think that you'll disagree with me on this. The education system, at least in the States, has definitely started to follow that path too. It really just trains you to check off all the boxes and follow all the steps, do what you're told.
Yeah.
And so there's this whole generation, I think, of people that are insecure and they don't even want a chance trying something because they don't even know how to try something.
Yeah.
Like, it's scary to me that we're basically raised and conditioned to be great employees and to not really think about any of this.
And even when people start their businesses, they actually start businesses, but they started with an employee mindset.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. That's what I've been saying.
So I was talking to a client yesterday, and she has to go on a vacation in a couple of weeks, and she wanted to fit in everything that she wanted to do in the 2 weeks. And I said, why do you need to do that? She said, yeah, but because I have to do it. Like, before I go on my vacation, I have to finish all this work. And I asked her, but why? But because she also wanted to take some time off right now so that she could focus on her writing, she could have more fun. And I asked her, why? Who are you answerable to? You don't have any boss. You're not tied to a table. You are your own boss. What's going to happen if you don't finish half of the project before you go on your vacation and you come back and finish it? Like, who's going to do anything to you? And it really opened her eyes. She's like, oh my God, I didn't even think about it. We become business owners, but we tie ourselves to our business owners because we aren't the CEOs. We become employees of our business.
I see that happen so much, especially with freelancers. And I think that's partly because of the system that we've grown up in. Exactly like you said, we're not trained to solve problems, to fail our way forward, to accept failure as part of the process. In fact, we all try to avoid failure because we see it as painful instead of growth. Like, come on, guys, if you've ever been to a gym or done some exercise and you felt that sore muscle, I love the sore muscle feeling. It hurts. Don't get me wrong, but it's also like, ooh, that hurts. I'm getting stronger. Kiss the bicep.
Yeah. You know, I love my Peloton, talking off sore muscles, but I can't remember which instructor was it. And it really opened my eyes because I was going through some failure at that time. And she said that failure is just feedback. It's just feedback given to you. And if you've seen the Brene Brown's documentary, not documentary, her she's on Netflix, and she's
is it a TED Talk or?
It's not her TED Talk, but it's her special on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll look that up.
I think it's called The Call to Courage. And she says this. She's telling people that, you know, I go and I speak and I say that, you know, if you want to be in the arena, if you are going to be in the arena doing the work, you're going to have to fail. I'll come to her and say that, okay, Brene, we are ready. I'm ready to fail. If I'm ready, if I will fail, I will not be deterred. And she said, no, not if.
When.
You are going to fail. And again, patriarchy. This is the, like, you know, we have, it's like the whole online business industry, the idea of just coming in and starting a business and making $1 million in 6 months and living a digital nomad life. That's been perpetuated. That's been made a dream. And nobody talks about the failures. Nobody talks about the long nights and the clients that sucked and the long nights that failed. And more people get sucked into it without knowing that, right, there is that, you know, dream, the online business dream, but it takes a lot of work and effort. And those who are not ready to fail, it's not going to be that easy for them.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how much I think that we're in alignment on that. And I love Brene Brown because, okay, if you've read her book, Daring Greatly, she does the Teddy Roosevelt quote that I love so much. Like, it's not the critic who counts. It's the man in the arena, or the woman, or the other, that is in the arena doing the work, you know, that fails again and again, basically trying to get the thing done. And that's such an important part of this process. The only way out is through. And that's the way you really build a business. So I love this idea of the dream of the online business that's been sold to a lot of people, because as a digital nomad, I have a drastically different perception of the laptop lifestyle on the beach. First of all, who takes their laptop to a beach? sand in your laptop. It doesn't, and like when I'm on the beach, I actually want to enjoy the beach and not be, what the hell is wrong with people? Laptop on the beach.
I have a really funny story. So I totally wanted to live the laptop on the beach lifestyle. And this is going to be my 4th year in business. And I still do actually, I have to update my vision board, but there is this photograph on my vision board of this woman who's sitting on the beach with her laptop. And I'm like, I have done everything on this fucking vision board. That's the only thing that I haven't done. Because when I go on a vacation, I carry my laptop every single time. But dude, I'm on a vacation. I'm not going to pull my laptop out. And if I do carry my laptop in my bag, every few seconds, I have my one kid who's going to be screaming about, something. Someone found a shell. Someone stepped on hot sand. Someone has got a tan. Like someone needs a sun lotion refill or whatever. So it's impossible. It is not the real. Like you were saying that, a lot of people say, you live the digital nomad lifestyle. Start documenting it, and you're like 80% of the time I'm behind my laptop. These are things that look really good that on Instagram, they look really good on a vision board, but not everything is possible. And so what? Big deal.
Yeah. And not everything is doable. Like, I don't know. I'm not big on putting my face out. I'm not big on dressing up. That's why these videos don't get released, because I don't want to put on makeup to record a podcast. I just want to talk to my friends and have a good time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who've listened to this podcast by now know my story, which was that I had an unexpected breakup back in November, which, my response to that was, I don't want to live in this town, but I don't know where I want to go. I think I'll just go travel for a while and find the next place that feels like home. So I'm a digital nomad now. And I've been to 4 or 5 cities at this point. I'm kind of losing track. But in addition to posting pictures of food, sometimes I share posts when I go out and explore a place and I find something new that I think is cool. I'll share pictures of that. And so many people have reached out to me privately and said, we need more adventures.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about before the call, where I was like, the adventures that I'm having are the ones that I'm sharing. 80% of the time I'm at home at my Airbnb doing the work. You're getting the adventures as I have them. And so we were joking about, like, I almost want to start this anti-influencer Instagram thing where I'm like, hashtag doing the dishes, nomad life. Just
do it. You should do it.
There's a hell of a lot of real life that happens in business.
Yeah.
Just so you know. And that's the important stuff, not the laptop on the beach.
On the beach. Yeah. And honestly, if I'm going on a vacation, I don't want to be working, to be honest. Like, there's another thing if I want to pull out my laptop and do my writing or, just check my email once in a while, but I want to be enjoying with my kids. I want to spend time with my husband. I want to go out and eat. I want to swim. I don't want to be stuck behind my laptop. Why the hell am I on a vacation then?
Absolutely. And I think that is an important distinction. Like, if you're going to bring the laptop on vacation, bring it because you want to write or you want to create something, not because you feel like you have to check in on the business and keep it running. Because if you do let that energy flow and you let it be easier than you've been brought up to think, it will actually continue to work without you.
Yeah.
At least for a little bit. It's fine. It's fine to take a vacation, guys. It's necessary to take a vacation. I'm so anti the conditioning that we've got, that you've got to work so hard that you basically collapse and force yourself to take a vacation. No, choose to take one because it's actually making you do better work when you are rested and refreshed.
Yeah. Well, I would say vacation is a big step. The first thing that we need to understand is that you wouldn't choose to take a break several times in the day. I personally know some of my clients in the past who've done this. I've heard it from some very known entrepreneurs as well. I'm not going to take names here, but who didn't get up to pee because they were on back-to-back calls. And I specifically remember reading it in a book that a certain entrepreneur used to keep like a plastic bag near her because she was in back-to-back webinars. And I'm talking years ago, guys, when, virtual assistant wasn't a thing, and technology is great right now. Like, there are things that you can do in minutes. And at that time you had to do everything, and you had to like run a webinar on your own, like without any technology. There was no Zoom, nothing. And so she didn't even have the time to get up and go to pee. But I mean, that is definitely extreme. But if we are being completely honest, how many of us have not done this? That we've said, oh, I'm just going to check one more email. I'm going to just send this and then I'm going to go pee.
And then hours later, you've never done it?
Never done it.
Oh, God. Oh, this, see, that's the downside of it, because I feel like that's the old corporate thing sneaking in a little bit. Like you're in back-to-back meetings and you don't get to leave because we need you here. But do you need me here though?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. Like, again, going back to, you're the fucking CEO of your company. Nobody is like, if I don't send this email in the next 2 minutes, I'm not going to be fired. I'm not going to lose my bonus. There's nobody going to be rating me. But we have this in our mind that if I don't do this right now, if I don't respond to my client right away, the minute she sends me a Voxer or the minute she sends me an email, then something is going to go off somewhere. Right?
No, I hear that a lot, and I'm going to challenge that notion right here, right now. There is such a thing as too available, folks. If they know that anytime they reach out to you, you're going to respond in 5 minutes, then you've set the expectation, and now you have to fulfill on the fact that you respond within 5 minutes. I tell people you'll hear back from me in the next day or two, and then I follow up on that, but they don't expect me to reply right away. And that's the way I like it. But I had to ask for that for myself. And I don't want to say ask for that. Like, I had to take that for myself and say, this is the way it is. This is the way that I work. Because look, I'm not waiting around for the potty patrol to come give me permission to take a pee break. That is so ridiculous. And that's exactly why I started this podcast, to circle back to something that you said at the very beginning, is because I think there are so many Instagram influencers and these perfection pictures out there on the internet of what running a business is really like. And that's why I wanted to talk to people about what it's really like. Did you struggle? Did you fail? Did you have a surprise? Was it weirdly easy? And this is a whole new journey for you. And I've had people talk about it all over the map, because I think the first really big shocker for me in my entrepreneurial career was seeing someone kind of break down behind closed doors. And suddenly I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Like, other people are freaking out all the time too.
Yeah.
Oh, I have hope now that I can freak out on the inside and then still figure this out somehow.
Oh my God. I feel you, Angie, so much. There's this facade of being perfect and happiness and successful launches, but nobody is prepared to talk about the time that they were on their knees and what all went wrong. And here, I'm a big proponent of not sharing a story from your wound, sharing it from when it's healed, like especially when it's not gaping open and bleeding. But I'm also a big fan of like sharing the process of healing, because that gives so much power to other people to talk about the struggles that they are having, because business is hard. It's fucking hard.
It really is. And it's personal.
Exactly. And no matter what stage are you in, right? No matter if you are a beginner entrepreneur, if you made 6 figures, if you're 7 figure, it's hard at every stage. Every stage has different problems. So let's be open about that and talk about the struggles, and let's celebrate each other too. I'm all about that. Like, let's celebrate the 6-figure launches and the high revenue months.
Absolutely.
Let's have a balanced approach of sharing about our struggles as well.
That's a fantastic point too, because I think in some circles, there's almost this glorification of the struggle. And that's not what I wanted for this podcast too. Like you said, it's important to celebrate the wins. And sometimes I almost see like this weird, well, I guess it's part of human psychology, and it's part of like how we're wired in our brain to kind of focus on the negative thing to keep ourselves alive, self-preservation. But celebrating the wins in a totally unashamed way is something I want to see more of, especially women, since we struggle with it. Like, get out there and say, no, I host a kick-ass podcast. I am happy. Deepshikha hosts a kick-ass retreat. I've been to one. I think it's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with you going out there and saying, this is what I do, and I'm actually really good at it.
Really good at it. Yeah. That's the confidence that comes with total, that feeling of worthiness that, oh my God, I am so awesome at this. And I am here to share my gifts. And this is what I do. And I'm good at it.
Yeah. And I'm good at it precisely because I've been through the struggles and I have overcome the failures, and I know how to get through that the next time it happens, because it's going to keep happening. The world, the universe has new and inventive things that they will throw to you. Every time you get to a certain level of success, it's going to throw you off balance, and you're going to be like, all right, world, I don't know what you're trying to teach me there, but let's figure it out. Yeah. I almost have a sense of humor now whenever I get knocked. All right, universe, what's the point? I was having a really good run of it, Could have kept going for another 6 months. Oh, this is such important stuff to talk about, though. I don't think that we talk about it enough, just that it doesn't have to be hard. So don't make it hard. Like, don't look for complexity where none exists just because you feel like you have to work at a certain level. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. And there's so many ways that, entrepreneurs make it hard for themselves. And again, going back to the patriarchal success path, we all think that we have to make 6 figures in the first year of our business or maximum second year. If you didn't do it in the second year, then you're a failure. And then once you've done that, you have to triple it in the third year. And by a 3.5 or 3.25 year, you have to make $1 million.
Yes.
So we work harder. We make it even more complex. So just giving you my example, because we learn by examples and I'm all about sharing my failures. Last year we hit multiple 6 figures in our business, and I was
Congrats.
in the same. Thank you. And I was in the same boat. I was like, okay, gotta double this. I've always every year I've doubled and tripled my business. Gotta double this. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? So I went ahead, and this is something which is very new. This is very new information that I have just been able to sit with and said, shit. Okay, that's what I did. I invested in a lot of things that I didn't need, a lot of bells and whistles that I didn't need. I made my business more complex than it was supposed to be. I invested in, online business managers, a VA agency, hired a marketing expert. I basically made my business even more complex and hired people and spent money out that I didn't really need. My business was very simple. I had a high ticket group program. I had one-on-one clients. And it was beautiful. It was rolling. I was in a rhythm. And because I did it, there was suddenly a lot of cash going out, and, it was coming in, but there was a lot going out as well. And that's when I realized that, oh my God, by November, I had kind of figured out that something's happening. I'm going off track here. I need to try to make it simple again so that I can go back to having my beautiful, one-person business right now, so that I can scale. I can do what I really, really love, rather than adding all the bells and whistles. I don't need a Kajabi. Why did I sign up for Kajabi? I don't even have a course. Yeah. So those were little examples that I can give you, that in our head, we think that if we invest more sometimes, or if we add bells and whistles, then our growth is going to go faster. But sometimes we actually need to slow down in order to go fast.
Yes.
We need to do less in order to do more. We need to really back up. I always give an example of shooting an arrow. In order to shoot an arrow, we always have to pull it back.
Yes.
And
that's so brilliant.
Right. And that's what I started doing starting November, December, is I really started to think about, okay, how can I slow down? How can I cut all these different things that I've done in my business in order to grow? So, but you have to make mistakes in order to have these realizations. I mean, I wouldn't have known, and I'm glad that my business was still making a ton of profit. I was still bringing in a lot of money, that it's not that suddenly I have no money to put on the table. And I was able to contain it. I always say that, universe is very kind to me. It always gives me the lessons before it becomes too extreme.
Yeah.
But if I don't listen, I'm pretty sure it's going to be at the point where I'm like, oh my God, what just happened over here? I'm broke. I have no money. Mm-hmm. And I made all these mistakes.
I think that's a super smart point too, because just this idea that it has to be hard, but also like the struggle and the suffering is like something that you have to go through. Honestly, I've started to recognize that as a sign that this is not necessarily the path that you need to be on. If you are struggling so hard to make this thing happen, there has got to be an easier way to make your way forward. And when I stopped resisting and like, nope, I have my heart set on this one path that I was told will work, and I am going to make it work for me because I've seen it work for others. When I let go of that and just kind of followed my gut, trusted my intuition, and made choices that work for me, that was when it started to flow. Like I keep going back to that garden hose thing, but like I unkinked the hose and wow, the water started flowing. That's amazing.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that also is that, yes, definitely, you have to always trust your intuition. I'm a big fan of that. But also sometimes things don't work one time. Mm-hmm. Right. And there's this, again, the online business industry, the law of attraction, manifestation, mindset. Like it's not always mindset. Sometimes things don't work the first time.
Mm-hmm. Timing is always super weird. Like, all the retailers that had something for sale, some big sale that was happening, a few months ago when there was a massive freeze that took out half the United States. Like, okay, that wasn't a manifestation problem. that was a weather problem. Shit, now we got to recover, because something unexpected happens. But
exactly. And also like, what are the things that have worked the first time? I mean, it's a cliched example of Albert Einstein, but he didn't succeed the first time, right? Mm-hmm. Did so many, like 1,000 times, I think that's what they say. He tried 1,000 times, and that's when he succeeded. And it's unbelievable how much we discount repetition and consistency and doing things over and over again so that we can become masters at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, timing is such a big thing, and just weird things happening out of the blue that you can't anticipate. I know I have a friend who's a Facebook ads specialist who told me this funny story. It makes me laugh every time. He had some ads that he put live that were getting nothing, like minimal views, minimal clicks. And he was like, okay, does this mean I suck? Okay. That head trash that comes with putting something out there and that perceived failure. And it happens to all of us. Like, even if you have steeled yourself for the failure is coming, it still hurts when it happens, guys. We're not saying it doesn't hurt.
It's supposed to hurt. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't hurt, then you're not going to make it better.
Exactly. So he tells me that on a whim, he duplicated the ads, like just copied and pasted them into a new ad set, deleted the old ones, turned on the new ones, and suddenly they started working. Like, talk about throwing the baby out with the bathwater, to use an old cliche, but like, this thing didn't work. So did he determine that this was a failure and he's never going to use it again? With some quick thinking, he actually proved that it did work, and it was something beyond his control that kept it from working. So I love that you brought up that fact that just because I met resistance right now and this thing isn't working right now doesn't mean it'll never, ever work.
Yeah.
Because that's important too. Sometimes it's timing, sometimes it's money, or it's not the right fit, or it's not, the people aren't right, the offer isn't quite right, but that pain of the failure.
Things. Sometimes it's just, you have to try it again. You have to learn a few lessons along the way. There's so many things. It's not always the mindset, guys. Sometimes timing too. Sometimes it's not the right offer. Sometimes it's, you're not aligned with it. It could be so many things, but I don't know any entrepreneur, any online product, whatever, like any entrepreneur who hasn't failed.
Yeah. And sometimes you just gotta, I don't know, for me, it's a pint of Ben & Jerry's. Sometimes you just got to grab that ice cream pint and cry a little bit and then get up and try again.
Yeah. Ice cream helps, chocolate helps,
however you cope with failure.
Crying definitely helps.
Crying helps me a lot. And that, do your favorite indulgence, treat your inner child with some kindness and with sympathy, right? You wouldn't scream at a child that fell down and be like, you idiot, what's wrong with you? You are that child in this instance. You just fell down and scraped your knee. How about give it a kiss? Give it a kiss. It's going to be better. Hug yourself. It's going to be okay. Oh, this has been such a fantastic conversation. I think we're going to have to do a part 2 follow-up. What say you?
You're the second person who said that to me on a podcast. Like, oh my God, this was so good. We have to do a part 2. I am always ready to do a part 2 or part 3 or whatever, how many ever parts you want.
Of course, they can't see it, but I'm over here doing like my little happy dance. All right. So tell us a little bit more about how to find out about you.
Sure. So you can go on my Instagram by my name, Deepshikha Sairam. I think by the time this podcast comes out, so when I started my business, I started it under my company name, which is Social Leak Group. And we are now rebranding everything to my name, which is Deepshikha Sairam. It just gives me more freedom to do more things that I wanted to do. I started as an Instagram marketing expert, talking of influencers, but now I do business mentorship and coaching and sales and marketing. So everything by Deepshikha Sairam. I also have a podcast. It's called How to Woman.
I like it.
Fuck the system, live your truth. We talk about smashing the patriarchy in every aspect of business, your life. We talk about a range of topics. So you can find me. I would say if you go and put my name on Google, you'll be able to find me. There is no other Deepshikha Sairam in this world.
Absolutely. Well, and of course, I'm going to make sure that they have clickable links to everything in the show notes. And just to clarify, I don't think influencers are bad people. I just think that they don't show you the whole story sometimes. So maybe I will take those.
Of course. No, but I honestly, like in my Instagram marketing days, I did that for about year and a half. And when I started, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to work with influencers. And very quickly I realized that actually those are like, I don't want to work with influencers because everybody wanted to just have 10,000 followers because they could get the swipe up feature and nobody really cared about what they were saying, the impact that they were making. So I think within the first 3 months of my business, I totally pivoted to very clearly saying in my messaging that if you want followers, don't come to me. If you want actual relationships, if you want actual clients, then come to me, which turned out to be the best thing ever that I did for my business.
Yes. Stand for something or you stand for nothing. That's what I say. Like, and it isn't just about the followers or the amount of money that you can get. Like, I started being an entrepreneur so that I could actually do some good in the world. And it just so happens that money and freedom gives me a lot more leverage to do a lot more good in the world. So
absolutely. Oh my God. Can we talk about this? That, money is so, so important. So we're not saying that you have to just, be happy and be spiritual. Money is super important. Money, it gives I'm Indian, living in the US. And right now we are in the month of May. India is suffering with coronavirus. Every day there is someone who we know who has died. And I just keep thinking, we made the donations and everything, but I just keep thinking if I had the money, I would have just chartered a plane right now and stuffed it with all the oxygen concentrators that I can find and I can buy with my money and sent it to India. That's the power of money.
Yes. Money is definitely not evil. It's what you do with it that counts.
Exactly. If you have money, you can do more things. And women, if they make more money, the world just becomes a better place, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you. Somebody said it once in a way that really opens my eyes, which was, if you're a generous person before you had money, think of the generous acts that you could do when you have more money.
Exactly.
Like, getting more money isn't going to suddenly make you a generous person if you're already stingy. But if you're a giving person and you are empowered with more money, whoo.
Yeah. I always say that money just makes you more of who you are. So does crisis, talking about, your podcast. Crisis makes you more of who you are. So if you're a very, if you get tensed and stressed out and you don't have the resilience, the grit to go through the crisis, then that's what it's going to make you more of. But if you're someone who says, okay, I've fallen off, I'm going to dust off, going to figure this out. This shit is fucking crazy, but I'm going to figure this out. Yes. And that's who you become more. Like, remember when COVID hit, there were a lot of people who were buying masks and hoarding on toilet papers. And there were people who were checking on our friends and families and saying that, are you safe? Let's just keep ourselves safe. Let's not go out and spread this virus. If we have it, let's just stay home. So crisis just makes you more of who you are.
Yeah, totally. And as I'm sitting here in North Carolina, as we're filming this or recording this in May, and the toilet paper crisis has repeated itself in the form of the gas crisis, where people are hoarding gasoline. But me, I went to town and I got my groceries and I got my cat supplies because I'm traveling with my cat. And then I was just like, all right, I'm going to stay up here in my beautiful little mountain home and hunker down until people stop punching each other over gas. And we'll just let it ride and things will be okay. I'm going to check on my friends. Exactly. Oh, this is fantastic. So fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And wow, just keep being you. You are making a big difference and I love it.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
So that is it. Another awesome episode of Permission to Kick Ass on the books. If you want to know more about the show, if you want to know more about me, Angie Coley, and the mission I'm on to help entrepreneurs punch fear in the face and do big, bold things, then head on over to permissiontokickass.com. That is all one word together, permissiontokickass.com. Make sure to sign up for my email list so that you know whenever there's a hot, fresh, and ready podcast episode out for you. And also on Mondays, I like to send out a little newsletter called Kick Monday's Ass. I'm sure you're totally surprised by that. So thank you for being here with me today. I'm Angie Coley. Make sure that you share this with a friend that needs to hear this message today. Like it, share it, comment wherever you're listening to this today, and let's go kick some ass.